What up, everybody? I'm your host, Will. Welcome back to Fandom Frequency, where we get into the entire multiverse of pop culture, if you will. And today is no different, man, because we're going to be getting into our show. What's the word? What's the word, man? That's right. I'm talking about What's the Word. It's episode 6. This is where we break down multiple topics in the world of pop culture throughout the week: movies, TV, sometimes video games. You know what I'm saying? We're going to be mixing it up around here. But this is the 6th episode. And as you can see from some of these characters and some of these iconic actors featured on the screen, we're going to be getting into some big ones. And the main topic for today is Green Lantern casting. The Hal Jordan casting has been going. Every single week we've been getting updates and all that. Matthew McConaughey was in the mix. Ewan McGregor was in the mix. Josh Brolin apparently was offered the role and passed on it. So there was a lot of different people getting discussed for the role. Chris Pine, Joel Edgerton was a fan favorite pick out there. Kind of some fan casting that was going on, not official option on the list. But today, or not today, but just a few days ago from the recording of this, we found out Kyle Chandler is apparently officially going to be playing Hal Jordan in the Lantern series. It's going to be on Max, HBO Max, as it's actually called. And yeah, you know what I mean? They got Damon Lindelof from so many different excellent TV shows, Watchmen and Lost and all these other things. He's going to be working with him on this show. One of the filmmakers that worked on Ozark is going to be on this show. So it's looking like this is going to be an excellent show, man. And they got him teaming up with Jon Stewart, doing a True Detective style kind of mixed with cosmic sort of murder mystery going on. And after seeing the Batman in the world of DC, where they really leaned into a murder mystery and things of that nature, I really love that kind of aspects and those things that they're bringing to the world of DC Comics. And I think Kyle Chandler is an awesome choice to play the role of Hal Jordan as well. I think he has that elder statesman kind of mentor vibe about him. He's played these characters before. Obviously, he's known for Friday Night Lights for playing a coach that was a mentor figure in the show. So Kyle Chandler can play these roles in his sleep, and I think he has a lot of range as well with shows like Bloodline on Netflix. I never saw the entire series, but I know a couple years back, my mom was watching it, and I would come in sometimes in the middle of it and be like, oh, yeah, what's going on here? I like these actors, Ben Mendelsohn and other people like that. And I would just get sucked up into some of the episodes and whatnot, and then go on my way and go work on whatever I'm working on or watch whatever I'm watching. But I remember seeing some of his performance in that. Wolf of Wall Street's one of my favorite Scorsese films, and he plays an awesome supporting character in that, in the detective that's trying to bring down Jordan Belfort, and his dynamic with Leo DiCaprio was excellent in that movie. The only movies I really seen him in that I thought they did him kind of dirty on, or he just wasn't as good, was the Godzilla Kong movies. But other than that, I've always really enjoyed Kyle Chandler as an actor, so I think he definitely has the right vibe for Hal Jordan and has the right type of chops to really bring this character to life and really really be what that role was and pictured in all of us comic book fans' minds. Because the Ryan Reynolds thing from almost 15 years ago now, really lame version of Hal Jordan, really wasn't the essence of the character whatsoever. I'm not a huge Green Lantern guy, but I do know some of the comics. I do know some of the lore. I've read some of that stuff. And, obviously being a kid of the 90s, Jon Stewart was my Green Lantern for a long time before I even knew who Hal Jordan was. And we got a little bit of an update on the casting of Jon Stewart as well. Not necessarily confirmed yet, but it appears that Damson Idris is going to be the actor that's kind of in the lead. But I've also heard some conflicting reports that Aaron Pierre is in the lead right now for being the most likely to get cast as Jon Stewart. I'm not exactly sure where those things fall. I don't have any leakers or friends like that in the industry or nothing of that nature. So I have no idea where that's necessarily going to go. And I'm not super duper familiar with either Aaron Pierre or Damson Idris's work. I never watched Snowfall, and I haven't seen Rebel Ridge yet. So, it could go either way. I don't necessarily have a horse in this race out of the options that they've listed out there. There's a couple other unknown actors they also put in the mix as well. There's like a top 5 list right now, and these two are on that, along with Kelvin Harrison Jr., who I brought up last week, and 2 other unknown actors' names I forgot to write down, so my apologies. But there's 5 guys in the mix right now. It seems like Aaron Pierre might be the guy just slightly over Damson Idris, because I've been seeing that reported just a little bit more. But I also just saw this report right before I put all this stuff together for the show that it was Damson Idris. So I've been seeing conflicting reports, so they seem to be the 2 in the lead right now. So we'll see where that falls. But I'm really excited to see Jon Stewart come to life on screen, man. I love Jon Stewart. That version of Green Lantern to me was just always more interesting than Hal Jordan, always just more badass. And I just always loved his portrayal in Justice League Unlimited. So doing something like that, but doing something a little bit different with him being kind of the rookie, being the Brad Pitt to Kyle Chandler's Morgan Freeman in Seven type of situation going on here. with McConaughey being the younger guy and Woody Harrelson being the older guy, the Kyle Chandler to the Damson Idris or Aaron Pierre type situation going on. Really dig it, really like it. I think these are some good choices for sure. But what do you guys think about the Hal Jordan and the Jon Stewart casting? Are you guys hyped that it's going to actually be Kyle Chandler, or were you hoping it was going to be McConaughey or Chris Pine or someone like that? Did you have a different choice that wasn't even named? Let us know down in the comments below. I always love hearing your guys' opinions on that kind of thing. But we got some more casting announcements as well. We got Avatar season 2 and season 3 confirmed on Netflix for the live action version. I did watch it and review it, if I'm not mistaken. I believe we reviewed it, and I was just lukewarm on it. I thought there was some good stuff about it. Some of the actors really nailed it, but I don't think the Anger Katara actors did. But we got new casting for Toph Beifong here and the young actress of Mia Sek. So it'll be interesting to see she has martial arts and dance background, so I think doing a lot of those elegant kind of earth bending movements, she'll be able to pull that off really well, I'm sure. I'm just wondering what her acting skills are going to be like, and is she going to really feel like the character? Because that was my main issue with Avatar: The Last Airbender live action, the latest version on Netflix. I didn't like the actor that was playing Aang. I didn't feel any of the charisma, any of the fun, any of the humor, any of the essence of Aang at all, honestly, in the show. Like, it was kind of hard for me to get through, man. Like, he was a good actor. It wasn't like a terrible version like the first time. It was a lot closer and it stayed closer to the story and whatnot. But he was really dragging it down for me. He had some moments where he shined, but he really wasn't hitting it for me, man. And the actress that plays Katara, not at all. Never felt like Katara to me whatsoever. And her acting is so wooden, I just couldn't get into it. The guy that played Sokka did a great job. The actor that played Uncle Iroh nailed it. The guy that played Zuko nailed it. Like, those three actors, to me, they understood the assignment and they did very well. And I love those characters. Those are actually three of my favorite characters in Avatar. I like those three characters more than Aang and Katara, if I'm being honest. So for me, that was kind of my saving grace of it. And I think that's really the only reason why I really stuck with the show, because the bending looked phenomenal. And those actors and those characters that I actually are more invested in or have more entertainment value in actually kind of helped save this for me, because the main two actors that are the heart of the story, though, the main characters, Katara and Aang, were not well done to me personally. And I'm not trying to hate on it. That's just my honest opinion. So I really do hope that this actress is able to nail Toph, because Toph to me is also another character I care about more than Aang and Katara. That's my fourth. You know what I mean? Those are my four characters that are my all-time favorites in the show. So I do hope that they're able to get it down. I do hope she can nail it, and I hope maybe the Aang and Katara actors maybe can kind of come back to it and come with some better energy and really nail those characters, and maybe go back and watch the show and really try to emulate more of what they're doing while adding their secret sauce to it, while putting their own aspect of themselves as actors into it. I understand they got to do that and do something different, but they made Aang way too Zack Snyder, Man of Steel, brooding and being all upset the whole time. I'm like, that's not the character, man. I'm sorry. He's a 10-year-old kid in a 100-year-old body with a lot of responsibility, but he's still a 10-year-old kid in his mind and in his personality, because he was frozen in time. He's still 10 years old. 10 years old. 10-year-olds, unless they really going through a ton of shit, aren't serious all the time. Anyway, they have fun. They make some jokes. They're kids. They're immature. That's going to be an element of the character. And Aang, being a fun-loving character, is an important element to him. So I really do hope that they're able to kind of right the ship a little bit and make the season 2 way better than season 1. But we'll have to wait and see how that goes. But we're going to keep it moving here. We got some horror news. The director of one of my all-time favorite modern horror movies, Barbarian, Zach Kreger, who also got his start in comedy with things like The Whitest Kids You Know, which was a show on like VH1 or Fuse or something. I can't remember the exact channel. Someone out there that's around my age, dude. If you were born in the mid 90s, you have to know about the Whitest Kids You Know show. It was one of those few really more like kind of like sketch comedy shows that I actually thought was really funny. And they actually kind of like made fun of white dudes as white dudes. So that actually was really, really funny. And there was a lot of really fun stuff on there. But when it comes to Barbarian, there's no funniness to be had in that movie, because that movie was fucked up in all the right ways and so well done. You never knew where it was going. So Zach Kreger has automatically shot up to one of those directors in genre films that I want to see him do all types of shit. And I'm always invested in whatever he's doing. And that's no different here. he apparently is getting courted by Sony, I believe, to direct a new version of the Resident Evil franchise, a new movie. I'm not sure if this is going to be a sequel or something like that, a continuation of Welcome to Raccoon City, which I haven't watched yet, but I do need to go check that out. The Mila Jovovich films to me were never the essence of what the games were. I'm not like the biggest fan of the games that you're going to meet, but I played the first two games back in the day. I'm aware of some of the lore and things like that. I didn't play Resident Evil 3 or 4, surprisingly enough. So I'm kind of one of those weirdos, but I'm very well aware of those games. I'm aware of the characters, aware of the lore. And Welcome to Raccoon City, while I heard wasn't the best film in the world, did have the essence of what the games really were with the characters. It just shouldn't have smashed those two games together that way. People were saying it was more like you didn't get to let things breathe and really play out in a more cohesive manner for the film. But the lore, the characters, the essence is there. But apparently people had some problems with Leon. But every other character I heard everyone praise and really liked, like Claire and different people like that. So getting to see Zach Kreger potentially do his own version of that stuff could be really dope. But I also saw rumors that they might be going off the third game, which was like called labeled Zero, because it takes place before the events of Resident Evil 1 and 2, if I'm not mistaken. So they could be going in more of a prequel route to Welcome to Raccoon City and stay in that continuity, or he could be doing a brand new version straight from scratch. I'm not exactly sure. I would prefer him to do the Zero idea, like the other side game, or do his own thing. I think Welcome to Raccoon City, trying to do a sequel to that at this point when it wasn't as successful, isn't the smartest idea, because a ton of people that are normies, or even a lot of people in kind of the genre fandom community, aren't really aware of it or have seen it yet themselves, like me. So I don't necessarily think that would be the strongest play. I wouldn't mind him doing his own version of that either, if he could just do the first game, then do the second game as a sequel, so on and so forth, or get another director and he can help produce and make sure they keep the same tone and atmosphere and the vibes if it works out. Either one of these directions I would like. And I'm glad he's doing another original film titled Weapons with Pedro Pascal, and doing things like that in genre, because I think original stuff is where horror, sci-fi, and thrillers thrive the most right now. And I think that's the best part of genre filmmaking is horror. So I hope he gets to continue to make his original stuff and become that auteur that I think he has the eye and the talent to be. So I hope he doesn't get too stuck into this IP world. But getting to see him do Resident Evil, I think, is a great idea. He did have some really dynamic camera movements and really did a great job with the more action heavy scenes of Barbarian. Really great cinematography and camera work in that film. And depending on what he's doing with weapons, could just solidify that. So I'm definitely intrigued and interested in a Resident Evil directed by Zach Kreger. But y'all let me know what you think about Barbarian from 2022, I believe. Yeah, from 2022. Go check out our review for that. We did a full-on spoiler review for that, and I might even discuss that again with a special guest. So keep your eyes peeled for that. I don't know when that'll be, but just in the future. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about Zach Kreger's work. If you saw The Whitest Kids You Know, and should he be the next director of Resident Evil, y'all holla at your boy. Let me know. We got some more casting announcements here because Freddie Prinze Jr. is back. It's official. I Know What You Did Last Summer is doing their own legacy sequel, and they're going to be returning next year, I think July or June of 2025, and it is confirmed that Freddie Prinze Jr. is back, baby. I can't remember the character's name whatsoever because I thought that was one of the more blander things I've ever seen him do. But hey, I'm open to another I Know What You Did Last Summer. I like the original film. I don't love it. I'm a kid of the Scream era, so of course I'm going to like Urban Legend and all that stuff. But Scream to me was just head and shoulders above. And, I like the cast in the first one. Sarah Michelle Gellar, of course. Freddie Prinze Jr., real life couple, of course, as we've known for years now. Cool to see, Buffy at the time in a freaking slasher movie. You know what I mean? Cool to see, Jennifer Love Hewitt, who's become a better actress. Always been gorgeous, by the way. She was solid in the film. And I can't remember the name of that other actor that played the asshole guy, but he's always been great. Ryan Philippe, my bad, Ryan Philippe. He's become an even better actor and gotten jacked in his older age too. So I really like that guy. But Freddie Prinze Jr., I really enjoy him as an entertainer and performer. I've always been a fan of his. So getting to see him come back as a stronger actor today and with more chops and a little more, credibility to his name would be cool to see him work with a director that he could vibe with better, because him and the director on the original hated each other. It did not work well at all. And that guy did not believe in Freddie Prinze Jr. at all. I don't get why. The dude definitely has that quality about him. So I don't know what this director was thinking at the time, because he's a good actor. He's solid. So it'll be interesting to see what the story is going to be for this. They're still trying to court Jennifer Love Hewitt and get her to come back. They got to back up that Brinks truck. You know what I'm saying? Get the amounts right. Get the contract solidified and all that jazz. But I think Jennifer Love Hewitt's going to come back as well, or come back in a surprise cameo, and then they're going to spring that up for the sequel. That's my kind of theories going into it. And yeah, but I could take it or leave it with the reboot or legacy sequel, requel, as they coined in Scream 6. So I'm going to go with that. Whatever they want to do with this requel, I'm open to it. I'm not a huge fan of the franchise. I like the second one, but it is kind of a bad movie. The third one was trash, and I heard the new TV series was trash. So it's not the strongest franchise, but I think there's nowhere to go but up for me personally. So I really dig the first one, but I think there's ways to make that film better, give it a little more hard edge, get a stronger cast all around, and really get some characters that you could get fully invested in. You know what I'm saying? Because I think the actors are really more interesting than the characters in the original. So I hope they can kind of get that going. But y'all let me know, what do you think about I Know What You Did Last Summer in general? And are you hyped for this little requel that they're doing? But now it's time to get to the big two stories I wanted to talk about the most, if I'm being honest. Scream 7 and Scream spinoff update? What now? Apparently, because there was some Production Weekly or something like that magazine, they put real life production, like confirmed production details in stuff and give you a preview for what's about to get filmed and what's about to come out over the next year or so. And they did this for a Scream film that was apparently in the description described as a Kirby Reed led spinoff that they're about to start filming, because we haven't heard any updates on Scream 7, which is going to be directed by Kevin Williamson, the original creator of Scream, of course, and starring the one and only GOAT final girl herself, Sydney Prescott, coming back and having a film focused on her, potentially where she's living in Denver or Portland or wherever the hell she's living at now. I can't remember. Seattle? I don't remember where it was. Hopefully it's Seattle. That'd be cool to see a Scream movie in Seattle. But they got Scream 7 coming up. We don't know exactly when they're filming that, and there's no release date for next year about that movie yet. We all kind of assumed it'd come out in 2025, but apparently it might get pushed back to 2026 because they're working on this film, a spinoff with Kirby Reed, a.k.a. Hayden Panettiere's character from Scream 4, who's one of my favorite characters introduced after the original Scream trilogy, right up there with the Carpenter sisters now. So I've always loved Kirby Reed as a character. I thought she was good in Scream 6, but they didn't give her much to do and didn't really let her have an effective arc or part of the story. But I loved her vibe in it. I liked the way they kind of had the character, her whole aesthetic with the leather jackets and everything. And her becoming a detective, I thought was kind of odd. But at the same time, I really liked her performance and what she was doing to it. She wasn't being too serious, but still felt like the character that we knew from the fourth film, just more mature or whatever, right? Because it's been 14 13 years, something like that, since because it's kind of in real time, sort of. So it's been like over a decade since those events happened in there. And I'm glad to see her back because we all thought she was dead. So I was so hyped when they announced Kirby Reed was coming back in Scream 6. And with her getting a potential spinoff, I'm definitely intrigued by that. But it is kind of odd. I'm like, is there multiple Ghostface things going on? Is there a cult of Ghostface with the stew theory going on here? What's happening? I'm not sure, but I'm down for a Kirby spinoff. That's for sure. I'm definitely not against it. But it is kind of odd and interesting at the same time because we've been hearing so much stuff about Scream 7, and now we're getting this. Is this information not real? Is this spinoff not even happening? Is this all a misdirect? I don't know. Or is Kirby Reed going to be in Scream 7 and they're just misconstruing it and thinking it's a spinoff because they didn't have Sidney Prescott or Nev Campbell, I should say, listed anywhere in the production things? Is there two movies going on? Is this movie or two movies getting merged together? I don't know. But I want to hear from you horror fans in the comments below. Would you prefer them just stick with Scream 7? Do you want a Kirby spinoff instead? Or do you want them to do both? Do you want two for the price of one? Let me know down in the comments, y'all, because I'm very curious on that one. I'm open to both as long as they have good storylines that make sense with each other and it makes sense in the overall franchise. I don't mind having two movies and having a spinoff in Scream. I don't know what you title it, but I like the idea because that gives you some room to mess around and maybe go and do some different characters and different things in the world of it without having to stick with Woodsboro all the time or stick with Cindy again. Or since you can't do the Carpenter sisters because both those actresses are kind of done with the franchise, you can kind of go in a new direction without having to rely on Sydney moving forward. But you don't have to keep making Scream 8, 9, and 10. You can kind of go into its own little offshoot like they're doing with Ballerina in the world of John Wick. So y'all let me know what you think about that. I'm definitely open to either one. But some of the big news, again, once right here, is with Elizabeth Olsen's Scarlet Witch, Wanda Maximoff. I'm pretty sure the rumors of the movie are true, that they're trying to work on a solo film with her, but there's also rumors that she's going to appear in both Avengers films and is going to play a huge role in phases 7 and beyond with the mutant saga, with the introduction of the X-Men and all that stuff. Obviously, we've all been wanting that. We've all been thinking they've been teeing that up since 2021 with WandaVision. So to me, a lot of these rumors I think are just definitively true. I just don't know exactly for the Avengers films if she's going to play a role, but that would make sense with Secret Wars having everybody, their grandmother, and Andrew Garfield, Tobey Maguire, and goddamn Hugh Jackman popping up. Of course, she should pop up. She's a mainstay of the MCU. She's one of the most important and popular characters in the franchise. So I think it's a shoe-in that she's going to return in Secret Wars. Doomsday, it all depends on the storyline. What are they doing exactly? I don't know. But I don't know if you're going to have 50 million characters in that film and a bunch of these characters in this other film. So I don't know exactly how that's going to pan out, but we'll see how it goes. But I'm definitely intrigued and definitely super open to the idea of Wanda Maximoff being a huge player in the mutant saga. That to me is just music to my ears, and that's always been one of the ways they should go about it. House of M, Avengers versus X-Men, all these things are on the table. You know what I'm saying? And I love that. And I think that Elizabeth Olsen's character, or Elizabeth Olsen's portrayal of the character, is so amazing. It's so well done. It just keeps getting better and better. And even though Multiverse of Madness wasn't the best written part of that, her going full heel, just she sold it. So I'm like, if you can go in that direction again, or you want to continue in that and get better writing that goes along with a little bit of a better kind of transition for that, that to me could be freaking awesome. So I'm super duper down for the idea of Scarlet Witch playing a huge role in the MCU moving forward, with the mutants being the main focus. And I think that's the way they should go. Get away from the multiverse after Secret Wars, collapse them, bring it into one, and let's continue with the mutant saga, Fantastic Four, cosmic stuff, mutants. Let's let that be let's let that be the focus and put Scarlet Witch at the forefront. So let me know if you guys want to see a Scarlet Witch solo movie. Do you think she should be in both Avengers movies? And do you like the idea of her being one of the leading kind of characters of the overall mutant saga, if you will? Not necessarily leading a team, but hopefully maybe being on the X-Men and being a huge part of that. So let me know what you want to see with that down below, and if you're hyped for that idea. And I want to say once again, thank you so much for joining us for this latest episode of What's the Word, where we break down all these different news topics and things like that. Are there any news topics that I missed that you guys wanted to talk about? Let me know down in the comments below. And if you ever have any suggestions for things I might have missed this week that I can throw on to the next episode, I would love that as well. So appreciate you for sticking around to the end. We got Penguin coming out this Sunday on the weekend, so we're going to have a review for that dropping on Monday. And spooky season's coming up right here around the corner. We're getting into October, so you're going to start seeing more horror content from us. Agatha All Along, weekly reviews are going to be tying into that, but, you know, we love the MCU around here, so we're going to be covering that as well. And Joker Folie à Deux, we're going to have a spoiler review for that about a week from the time you're seeing this video right here. So make sure you stay safe out there, y'all, and thank you so much for joining us today. Take care, and we'll catch you on the next one. Peace.